Good evening on this April Fool's Day, April 1st, Sunday, April 1st. Right now I just broke away from WrestleMania 28, and let me tell you, I was not impressed with that Triple H Undertaker match. Boring. Did you see that? Did you see that? It was like watching two old people just stand there, and it did really nothing. Whatever happened to the good old days when they used to walk a mud hole in somebody's ass and walk it dry like Stone Cold Steve Austin did? Or whatever happened to the classic Hell in a Cell matches where someone would get busted open and blood would be pouring out? Obviously they had to tone the violence down big time if they want to get those little kids to watch it. You know, I was a real big, hard WWE fan for a long, long time. I first ordered the Royal Rumble on pay-per-view in 1999. Back then it was like 20, 30 bucks. In no HD, it was really worth it back then. And then a month later, the Valentine's Day Massacre and WrestleMania 15, where Austin and The Rock fought for the title, and The Big Show made his very first debut against Mankind, and whatever happened to the good old classic WWF, or I should say the WWE days? As far as I'm concerned, it will always remain the WWF. Excuse me if I did not get the F out. Some of the things they do anymore, I tell ya. Some of the stuff, you know, I can understand, but other things it's like, what's the point of all of this, you know? As a diehard fan, you know, I really miss growing up with it, and I really miss the good old days, you know, and then, you know, I'm not going to really watch it anymore like I used to. I just wanted to just take this little opportunity to explain, you know, how I really feel about it now, you know. It's just not the same anymore. Although, I will say this, if I was like, you know, 6 to 10 years old again, then yeah, I'd be loving every minute of it. You know, back in 99 and 2000 and 2001 when The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, Undertaker, Kane, and the list goes on, were running wild. 9 times out of 10, every other match, someone would get their head busted open. You know, and even back in like 95, 96, you know, not much of that happened, but it seemed more fun to watch. You know, it was really colorful and people had really good gimmicks, and now it's like watching a Broadway play. It's almost like watching a stand-in when Triple H and Undertaker were in that Hell in a Cell match just a little bit ago. You know, if they're going to do a Hell in a Cell match, here's some advice for them. Why don't you just foam the steel cage with foam rubber? You know, rubber they use like at, you know, gymnasiums or like around, you know, basketball courts and stuff have, you know, at basketball, you know, things, all that stuff padded on the wall. They should just foam a steel cage or, you know, with that stuff and call it Fud in the Mud match. You know, like fun in the mud, you know, like FUD in the mud. You know, basically it's like hitting FUD, you know, hitting like rubber instead of, you know, that won't cut your head open. You know, that would be safe. That would be fair. That would be worthy for the 10-year-olds to watch. I didn't have a real big problem with the sportsmanship after the match. I like to see that. I do. I like seeing, you know, wrestlers, you know, interact with fans, and that's why it reminds me of me, why I like to thank my viewers and fans on YouTube, because I like to interact with my friends and fans too. Where I can't say it, I can't really pronounce it right now, but you know what I mean. Whatever, you know, if they hate me or like me, you know what I mean. I can't really pronounce that word right now, but that's not the point here. The point I'm just trying to make is, as a long-life WWE fan, you know, I do kind of miss the violence in the matches. You know, it was really fun to watch in '99 up till, 2005, and then it was like, okay, now it's really getting to the point where it's really toning down the violence now, for the 6 to 10-year-old audience. And like I said, if I was a kid, I'd be loving every minute of it, but I'm not a kid anymore. I'm going on, I'm over 30 years old now. Back in the day, in my day, it was Hulk Hogan, Big Boss Man, Randy Savage, Miss Elizabeth, God bless their souls, and the Big Boss Man. He's been dead too, along with Kurt Hennig, the British Bulldog, Andre the Giant. I think Bam Bam Bigelow died here a while back, Earthquake, Yokozuna, and the list goes on. Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit. And that's another issue, just because, Chris Benoit did something that, you probably shouldn't have done in the first place. I wouldn't necessarily call him a murderer. You can call him what you will, but only God and Benoit know what was in Chris's heart that night. So, I, for one, don't want to, judge. I can't judge him because I didn't know him, and I didn't know what was in his heart, but only God knows that. Only God can tell us what exactly happened that night. But if people want to call him a murderer, that's their choice. I'm just trying to say, just don't judge people for what they do and what they don't do, I guess, and just to have fun, and if you like WWE, great. If you're like me, who kind of misses the violence, you can understand where I'm coming